SS fully broken needs the biggest nerfs ever, which really we would put Tsukuyomi in there, but we're gonna base this off of the patch that's coming out in a week. Tsukuyomi's in here, right? Yeah, he's right there. Okay, so we're gonna base this off the patch that's happening in a week, where Tsukuyomi is getting pretty nerfed. Still gonna be super strong, I think, and all that. So super broken, top tier should be banned, picked every game. S tier, you sometimes let it through. You're gonna pick it. A plus, just really good gods that are a little bit above average. Then your average gods, which are good in the most team comps, and then really B plus, I do like as like just you main a god and it can work if you're really just playing that god perfectly. B needs a team comp built around them, or needs to be put into very specific team comps into certain matchups. C garbage. D super garbage. It is what it is. Achilles has been doing really well. I mean, I don't think we've seen him be bad really. What, for like 3 years? Is we 3 years deep? 2.5 years deep of Achilles being sick? Achilles is A plus as a soul laner. In the jungle, I would not really be playing him very much. Just really slow in a meta where it's played and farmed really fast. Agni, I would say Agni's a little bit above par. Above that, like, that marker, right? Like where it doesn't quite fit in with every other average god, because you can play Agni into most matchups. You just might have a slower start against the more aggressive matchups, and then his team fight is fucking solid, really good. Make sure you put Cabrakan jungle D tier. Okay, all right. AMC has been played in the, people have been talking about it being played in the SPL. I haven't seen it played in the SPL. I did talk about it. If AMC is an SPL level god right now, it's because of your ability to poke and play around that poke as a full team of 5-on-5 at the highest level. Positioning is way too important. Playing in this in the mid lane, people are playing him. That's in the mid lane. Do not fucking recommend playing this god. Your position needs to be way too flawless. Only Dardes is playing. Okay, so one person is playing it in the SPL in the mid lane. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend pulling him out consistently. He's a very average god where you need almost pinpoint flawless positioning to take advantage of what the god can do and not fucking die on cooldown. Posh, similar situation to AMC. Might pick it in some counter matchups. Might pick it because you're playing to just protect yourself and peel for yourself. But in general, your positioning needs to be so good all the time, or you're gonna just fucking die on cooldown, making Opwash only an average god. Even in a meta where you're seeing a lot of healing, Opwash is still just gonna be very average. Amaterasu is getting a fatty nerf. They're nerfing the 2. I'm pretty sure they're nerfing the damage on the 2, and I don't remember how much it was, but I want to say it was like 30 base damage. I think it was 30 base damage. I do think that's gonna be a bit of a hit on Amma, and I don't really know where it came from unless she just has some crazy high win rate and ranked right now. So Amma's gonna be A tier average. I would say currently in her current step before this patch hits, I'd put her in like A plus for sure. She's very strong, very good. I would not play it in support. I would play it in jungle as an auto attack god or solo lane. In solo lane, it's sick. 20 early, 40 late. Okay, so she lost 20 damage early game, 40 late game. That's a lot of fucking damage. And late game isn't even late game. Late game is as soon as you hit your maxing on your 2, which is early in the game. That's not late at all. So as soon as you max that 2, you're losing a lot of damage. Honor's doing good into a lot of the hunter matchups that you're seeing and the mage matchups. So Honor as a hunter, solid, fucking good pick. Anubis has a really high win rate right now, and I don't see that changing. We're in a meta where the healing items are sick. People don't like to build anti-heal. People don't pick shit that counters healing. So you get away with Anubis. It gives you a lot of pressure for the first like 10-12 levels of the game, and as long as you use that to your advantage in some way, or just continue to position properly for the late game team fights, Anubis is doing solid. I think Quangerbanger is not good. Your ramp up time is way too slow. If you manage to consistently get the ramp up time to be fast, meaning you get kills or just are farming out of your mind, which is nearly impossible in a slow farming god, he's no better than A tier. He's just not consistent enough. Aphrodite, I'd say B plus, super situational. And you got to be playing Aphrodite really well for it to have a lot of value. I don't know why you would play Aphrodite in the current meta. And if people are playing against you and not building anti-heal into a direct healer, they're trolling. They're fucking trolling. Apollo, average as fuck, just doesn't bring anything. He's fairly easy to gank outside of his mez being a little annoying, but his ultimate doesn't get enough of a use. The whole split push meta isn't really a thing, which is where he would excel. So you're not seeing a lot of Apollo. Arachne is still fucking insane. Doesn't matter that the one got nerfed. The one nerf was a big nerf, don't get me wrong. But if Arachne is same level, same XP, same farm, or higher than the other jungler or for the rest of the team, you're stomping everybody. If you fall behind on Arachne, you're drastically behind now with the nerf to the one. So you're pretty much worthless the second you fall behind. So make sure you don't fucking fall behind. It is very hard to fall behind on a god where you just run at them and press 1, 2, 3. So Arachne's still doing good. The item nerfs that they've done to Golden Blade, to Fatalis, which you don't really even need on Arachne early, and to the Serrated Edge don't matter. Definite nerfs, needed nerfs, still very strong. Ares, hyper situational. You're only going to play that shit into a guaranteed winning matchup in the dual lane, and if they have a lot of mobility, leap, dashes, type stuff like that for you to cancel. Artemis. What did they change to Artemis? Oh yeah, your 2 gives you slow immunity in the patch coming up. I'm gonna say Artemis is gonna be average tier. I don't think that's gonna make the quality of life.
$3. Loki SS tier.
No, but thank you for the $3. The quality of life is gonna improve on Artemis, but realistically, Artemis is like A tier, B plus. Like, it's super average right now. I'd like to see someone make her work and find a way for her to work, but it's just not happening. RDO, A tier. I like RDO a lot. Your mana consumption is very high, and it's hard to play in a lot of matchups if you don't know them. If you do know the matchups, though, the aggression she puts out is awesome. So A tier. Athena, just a super average Guardian support right now. Crazy average. And if you're playing solo lane or don't know what the fuck you're doing, if you understand how to fucking clear on Athena and ult in the team fights, Athena's a good solo laner. Average as fuck, but good at that average level for your average player. Awilix, I think Awilix is terrible. I really do. I don't fucking like Awilix. Awilix has almost never felt good in the game. The only time Awilix has ever been popular was when really heavy leaps were in the game, and it was actually a means of countering that. That's not a fucking thing anymore. Like, Awilix ult is not scary because there's no one-on-one 2v2s. It's all 3v3s, 4v4s, 5v5s. So you do not get a lot of value out of a Awilix leap unless you're already putting out the pressure, which you could do on any god. Way easier. Baba Yaga, I think, is still above average. Super safe. Stacking is even better now. They buffed all the stacking items. If you know how to play her, she's fucking nearly impossible to kill. At least that's how she feels. And she's awesome. She does a lot of damage. The RNG, they need to get rid of, but outside of that, she's very, very strong. Bacchus, the Bacchus, very situational. I would only play him if you need hyper aggression out of the support role. Like, you need magic damage out of your support role, which should never fucking happen. Bakasura is still an amazing pick. S tier, same playstyle as Arachne, just auto attack, run at people, farm. Same shit. Nothing has changed. Baron, you don't even see Baron played much at all. I really don't like Baron. You're dough very easily. You're probably playing him in the solo lane if you're playing him. And unless the matchup just favors you, you can play that god because the matchup's going to favor you. There's no real reason to pull out a Baron when you can play a Guardian or you can play a fucking Warrior. No point. Bastet, really, 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 I'm going to say bad. I'm going to say Bastet is bad. Bastet is not average. No CC. If your team isn't controlling the pace of the game, you're not going to be able to do what you want to do in the game. You're not going to be able to pump out the damage that she has the potential to do. And you need a lot of farm on a god that is, like I said, just not a safe god. You don't have CC. You don't have peel. You're just all damage, all in, all the time. Bellona, I like Bellona, but fairly average in support. Sorry, not support. In solo and jungle. Cabrakan being played a little bit more in the solo lane. I don't mind it as an aggressive Guardian. You get away with it really easily. Plus, you have the early clear pressure. So it's awesome. Something for you to try if you want to play Guardians and you're not having fun on the current Guardians that are played. Camazot's really average right now. He's fallen off super hard. Cerberus is seeing a little bit more play right now. I'm going to put him in average. I'd say he's a little bit above average as long as you know your matchups. When you don't know your matchups, he's just doing average. He's going to get counterplayed a lot when you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And if your positioning is bad and you don't actually land your stun, completely worthless to play this god. Like, I'm talking, your stun should always fucking land. If you're not consistent with that shit, you're not hitting 70, 80% of those stuns, don't play the god. Cern, a very average hunter. Just doesn't bring anything to the team fights. Hasn't changed at all. Chalk, Duru, not really. Chalk is average. For the low-level players, he farms out the early game, which is all you need to do is get into team fights. But late game, you're really irrelevant after you ult in team fights. You just do not do shit after you ult in team fights. Chunga would not play Chunga right now. Too close to range. There's no items that are making her better. There's no playstyle that's making her better. There's no meta shift that has made her play better. She doesn't do shit. She's beyond trash in team fights as soon as her ult is gone. Just not worth playing Chunga. Everyone gets fucking farmed on Chunga. Sharnabog, very average. Once again, another Apollo-esque god where you can't really get a lot out of the ult all the time, so he's just not doing that well. Chiron, average as fuck unless you need the dispel on the one. Chronos has fallen off a little bit. I don't really want to put Chronos any higher than A tier. I thought Chronos was going to be insane when you've got Oleron and Freya popping off all the time. maybe A plus. It's kind of unfair to put him on Apollo's level. Definitely a little bit above Apollo in them. So we'll put him A plus. Just not as consistent as the other auto attack mages at all. Like not even fucking anywhere near the same as the other auto attack mages. I think it's because of his lack of really team fight potential. And yeah, his ult makes him semi-safe and the reset is sick. But at the same time, that's the amount of time you're doing nothing except for resetting. Like you're not fighting. The team doesn't have to worry about you for a few seconds. You have to reposition. If you're going out of position with the ultimate, it's going to fuck you over. So Chronos just isn't really doing all that much right now from what I've seen in matches. Cthulhu is still insane. Why can't I? There we go. Cthulhu is still fucking nuts, dude. I know the nerfs are coming through and they're nerfing the ult duration on him from like, what is it? They're nerfing it from like 11 to 10 or something. They're nerfing it down like 5 seconds at max rank or something like that, right? Or 4 seconds at max rank. They're taking away a decent amount of time out of his ult, but I think it's so overtuned that he's still a top god. I don't think he's fucking broken. Oh, they only took 2 seconds off of it. Okay, so it is still 2 seconds. It is still a hit. I wouldn't say he's completely broken where he needs to be nerfed to the ground, but he still needs more nerfs and he's still a top pick. 100%. 100%. Cabrakan, I like in the solo lane. He's really aggressive in your lower level games, and people do not know how to play into him because of the transformations. So you control the transformations. Definitely an A tier god, A plus tier god. Cupid is fucking nasty right now. Cupid is the best physical damage hunter to play in the game. You can play him in mid, you can play him in ADC, you can play him in the fucking jungle. That's how strong he is right now. I'll be surprised if Cupid doesn't go through some major nerfs in like the next big patch. Dodgy, situational, because you don't want to play it into a lot of matchups and you don't want to lose the pressure you would in the early game because she doesn't clear fast and she doesn't have hard CC. Discordia, probably the best mid laner and most consistent and safest mid laner for you to play. You also buff your teammates with your passive, which is massive for the side lanes. Erlang Shen getting a little bit more play in the jungle. I will 100% say I'd rather have an Erlang Shen than a Dodgy in the jungle or a Camazotz or a Quang. So we're going to put Erlang Shen in A+. Gives you the early pressure you need. Did I say Erlang Shen? Whatever. Gives you the early pressure, which you can then use to scale and ramp up with the items in the game because of Berserker Shield, because of Sledge, because of the way Void Shield is now, because you don't need to go full just hyper damage on a god to still pump out a shit ton of damage with these hybrid items. Avenir, I'd say is a little bit above most supports. Still really good in the meta, really good with the auto attack god combos. Avenir is, we'll say situational. We'll pretend and we'll say situational, but realistically B tier. Pretty average in terms of like what he can do. His setup is okay. Can stun 1 or 2 people. His ultimate is cool, but if you're picking Geb or you're picking Chiron, you're countering the ultimate. He's just not doing enough. He doesn't have enough of a kit to affect the whole team fight, and he is nowhere near consistent enough in any lane to do shit. Why the fuck would you play Fenrir? No idea. Freya, insanely good right now. Freya is shit stomping everybody. You pretty much build 2 items, 3 items, and can outtrade everyone. So why the fuck not play Freya? You literally just press 2 and clear the wave, and then you whoop somebody and you 2-1 and auto attack them. With hasten. That's all you can do. Oh, not this shitty god, dude. I'm seeing my chat say wait for it. Oh my gosh. C tier? B tier? D tier maybe? Maybe? No, not really. That's just probably the best support in the game. Best Guardian support in the game. Very consistent. Very fucking annoying to play into. Very frustrating to play against. Not actually very difficult to use mechanically outside of landing your ult and making sure your ult is useful. So if you practice that and get to a point where you're consistently doing stuff with your ultimate, either positioning it right or doing damage, the best Guardian you can fucking play in my opinion. Not always the easiest because people suck dick on that ult and you need to be using that ult properly, but because of the silence, because of the knock up, because of the hard CC he has in his kit, it's hard to play him and be shit. It's literally almost impossible to play him and be shit. Geb, fairly safe Guardian. Your laning phase might not be the best, but it's not terrible. And then your team fighting is amazing because you can engage ultimate, you have a knock up, you have a slow, you have the mobility out of the one if you got to move around the map, and your shield is fucking sick. Guan Yu, worst god in the game, next to Loki. He's trash. You have no defense for this. His healing is average. His damage is below like anything. It's trashed here. If anyone knows how to interrupt it, which every fucking god almost in the game these days can do, you're not going to do any damage. Trash. Your team fight, trash. Garbage. Fuck Guan Yu. Hachiman, pretty safe, solid ADC. He's not amazing, but just like a safe pick. Similar to Rama. Hades is having a really good time right now in this meta with the items, solo lane and mid lane. I like Hades a lot. Learn how to play it, learn how to use your abilities, and you just slap kids. Ebo, positioning is pretty important. And because of the amount of damage that some other gods can do right now, like Discordia and shit, there's no real reason to play Hebo. Yes, Hebo can do those damage numbers like every 5 seconds, but you're not as safe. Your positioning is closer. Play Discordia, you can do those damage numbers every 8 seconds, and you're a lot safer. You have immunity frames. You've got CC fucking immunity on your ultimate. You've got a lot of options and a lot of utility on a god that does a lot of damage. Also has hard CC in the 2. Sick god right now. Heimdall, a little bit above average, but he's fallen off a lot. Hard for him to compete with some of these mage fucking ADCs. Hell, way too inconsistent with positioning. You have to be close range to do damage. If people know how to hard CC you and build anti-heal, you get fucked. Hera, one of the better mid mages right now. Really safe with the shield, and the ultimate plays for you. You guys already know that. Hercules is probably the best warrior support and aggressive support and carry support you can play in the game right now. Wouldn't play him anywhere else. Horus, second best warrior support. Same playstyle, same thing. Wouldn't play him anywhere else. Yi, kind of doing average right now. I don't think he's a bad hunter. I don't really know if it's fair to put him in with Apollo and Artemis. I won't do that to him. I'll put him in A+. Just not great. Just a little bit above average. Unbats is seeing a buff. His ultimate is back down to 90 seconds. He's going to start getting played again. As the Golden Blade tier gets nerfed again, which is going to happen inevitably, that gets a big enough nerf, or all 4 items get nerfed again, you're going to see ability junglers come back in the game. That's when Hunbats becomes meta and core and a top jungler again. Isis, still doo-doo, situational as fuck. No reason to play that god. Izanami, trash as fuck. Janice, average, just not consistent enough. And global ult isn't doing enough in the current meta. It's way too easy to rotate around the map. Janice just isn't competing with the other mages as often. Jingwei is a fairly safe hunter. I don't think she's good. I don't think she's bad. Just a safe hunter that doesn't do much. Yorm, still an okay solo laner. Still very frustrating. Just not as potent. Kali, not the best pick because getting the late game does not mean shit anymore. There are too many gods that are pumping out the same amount of damage with way more utility and way safer in what their positioning needs to be to do that damage than Kali. There's just no reason to play Kali. Plus, upgraded shell. What the fuck are you gonna do as a Kali if you blink stun and then 3 upgraded shells comes out? You break through the shells, that's dope, but during that time you've already ulted and you're just trying to live, and maybe you're able to finish off that last person after getting 6 auto attacks blocked and taking a fuck ton of damage for that time. Khepri is probably the second best guardian right now in my opinion. I don't think he's broken, and by S tier here I mean these are the gods that are going to be prioritized for their role. You might not need to top pick the god, like a Khepri doesn't need to be top picked because he gets through, but it is a god as a support you're looking to pick. You want to pick that god. If you get in to the second, third picks, that's the god you're gonna grab because you want to fucking support at that point. He's insane, and you guys know why he's insane. You press ultimate, you root somebody from range, and you pluck somebody, and you've done your full fucking job. Congrats. It wasn't even difficult because you can't miss your one off of a fucking root. King Arthur, a little bit above average in the soul lane. Get your soul eater online, get your sledge online, and you're super frustrating to try to kill for anyone in the fucking match. Kukulkan, I like Kukulkan a lot. Actually gives you the pressure and control you need in the mid lane, but outside of that, rotating and positioning in teamfights is very difficult, and being consistent with the ultimate is not really common for most players. Goomba, average, really long CC trains, but outside of that, he's just not doing anything. Kuzimbo, just annoying, not really that great. Loki, the second worst god in the game, or I guess the worst god in the game next to Guan. Medusa saw some buffs. I like Medusa a lot right now. I think Medusa is good, not quite as good as Cupid, but definitely up there. I would play Medusa in the mid lane if you want to play a hunter over everything. Over maybe not over Cupid, but over everything else. Mercury has seen a little bit of a fall off. I'm gonna say he's above average. I'd much rather play Mercury than Dodgy. But all in all, with Shell and everything else in the game, and Height of the Nemean the way it is, granted in the patch it's getting nerfed. So we're talking that patch. After that nerf, it's gonna be better for him, but nowhere near as good. They have to remove upgraded Shell the way it is. It's garbage. Merlin, still a really good mid laner. I like Merlin in the mid lane, just nobody fucking plays him. I barely see him because you can play Discordia and Hera, but he is still pumping out a fuck ton of damage right now. It's because of the nerfs. So he got nerfed in the game pretty hard, and people stopped playing him for a couple weeks. Then they buffed Spear of the Magus, which made him insanely good. And then they slightly nerfed Spear of the Magus, so people are like, I'm not gonna play Merlin. Spear of the Magus is still good. Merlin is still good. Very good. Mulan, hyper overrated, not doing shit in the late game team fights. Naja, just really isn't doing anything at all right now in the meta besides stunning people. Neith, not that solid. I would only play her if you don't know what the fuck you're doing in the ADC role and you just want to clear and ult over to the team fights because you can't figure out how to rotate. Nemesis, still probably the best jungler to play outside of the AFK just auto attack jungler, because her kit allows you to be aggressive. It allows you to move around pretty fast in team fights. It allows you to insta kill targets. So your team fighting is a lot better on something like Nemesis over a Baka and Arachne. But in lower level games, Baka and Arachne are going to get you way more wins. Remember, this is more based on your ranked and casual games with a little bit of input from competitive. Nike, bad right now. Has a decent win rate, but nobody's fucking playing this god. And I don't really know if the win rate is just coming from lack of playing the god, but with the fact that you can burn through his ultimate with actives, I don't know why you would be risking playing a god like that. Nox, way too inconsistent. Nuwa, very, very good. Not safe enough for everyone to play, but the ultimate buys you enough time to be able to kill anyone, especially in the late game. Your ultimate is guaranteeing you're part of the fight and you're doing a shit ton of damage. Odin, trash tier. He's going to go down in C tier. I don't know why you would play Odin. Doesn't do shit. Oleron is one of the highest win rates in the game. His ultimate allows for pretty much full team fight control. And laning phase with Ring of Akate is pretty GG because you give crit to a mage. Osiris, average. Pele, average. I mean, we know this. They just aren't doing anything super consistent right now. Persephone, assuming you know how to play her, top tier god, picked and banned pretty much every game. Dropping her an S+. Poseidon, average mid, just not consistent and safe enough. You build Aegis and you pretty much counter the god fully. Ra getting buffs to the 2. Quality of life change is going to go up. Ra's ability to be played is definitely going to go up. There's a lot of slow gods that are core in the game. Arachne, Bakasura, Nemesis. Outside of that, if you're looking at really anything else, like Horus has a slow. There's a lot of shit with slows in the game that are played right now, so you're going to see Ra played a lot more and do a lot better with the immunity to slows on the 2. Raijin, slightly above average in the mid lane, still doing the same shit he's been doing for 8 fucking patches. Rama, a very consistent, fairly safe hunter for you to play if you need physical damage in the hunter role. Rat really didn't see much of a change even through the buffs to the acorns. Ravana, a very safe jungler, just slow clear. Scylla, good but not super consistent mid laner. Serket got nerfed in the ground, so you never see it anymore. Set, I would say, is slightly above average. It's kind of like the Arachne Bakasura of the ability junglers. You run at people, you ultimate, run at people, spam your 2 and your 1, and they're dead. And you don't even need to know really exactly how you're placing your 2 and shit. You literally just 2 and 1, and you'll do your shit. Scotty, way too risky to pick consistently. Sobek, great in the solo, great in the support. Very consistent, very safe, very easy to play. Soul, really good in the ADC role. Samu Kong, very good in the solo role. Crazy safe, and you do a fuck ton of damage with those damage builds. You aren't even going like, you are hybrid, but you're barely hybrid. You are a damage dealing solo laner, and it fucking works because he's safe as shit with his ultimate. And he's got high mobility, and he has 4 damaging abilities. Susano, just not consistent enough out of the jungle. Way too slow of a ramp up time. Sylvanas, just not consistent. Hard to really be engaging and hard CCing when you don't have it in your kit. And there's other gods that do it better. Terra, similar to Sylvanas. Thanatos, solid jungle pick, just really risky. If you miss in your 1, you're going to be worthless. If you're hitting your 1, you're going to have a really good early game. Morrigan, getting played a lot more right now. Hyper pressure in the mid lane is awesome and it allows you to carry more matches. Thor, still going to be one of the more consistent ability-based junglers, similar to Hun Bats. Once we see the auto attack junglers fall off completely by the end of the year, always happens. Worlds is coming around. They're going to nerf the fuck out of auto attack gods. You're going to see Thor and Hun Bats played again still. Thor is still really fucking good. If you are struggling on Thor, like you're ulting in and dying a lot, go a hybrid build and just grab a sledge and one other defensive item. Thoth seems to be doing a little bit better right now. I still think he's fairly average just because your positioning is so important. Tsukuyomi, even after the nerfs, I'm going to say right now I'd say he's SS. After these nerfs coming out, because they nerfed him again, if you guys haven't seen it. They did post-patch nerfs or post-something nerfs where everything is getting nerfed in his kit. His 1 was nerfed in the original nerfs that are already in the game. And this next nerf that comes out on the 8th, they're nerfing the 2, the 3, and the ultimate in multiple ways. They're nerfing movement speed on the 2, they're nerfing disarm duration on the 2, they're nerfing scaling on the 2, nerfing true damage and scaling on the 3, nerfing scaling on the ultimate. He's getting nerfed a lot. He's still going to be really fucking good. He's going to be a top tier god that's picked and banned in every single game. Tier, really consistent solo laner in terms of sustain, because people don't know how to play without sustain. But outside of that, he's just okay. Kind of like Arthur, just pretty good. Uller, I think, is pretty good still as an ability-based hunter, but I wouldn't be playing it over like a Cupid ever. Vamana, not consistent enough and way too easy to play around because people build Ankh and you die. Vulcan, not consistent enough. Positioning is way too fucking difficult, and no items are really making Vulcan insane. Chibalanke, not safe enough and not doing anything really with the auto attack gods in the game coming out of the mage. Mages, Shingten's still really good. Does great in auto attack gods in an auto attack meta. Yamoja, still fairly consistent. The healing is still nuts, dude. I don't know. Like, Yamoja's been nerfed damage-wise so much, but the healing is so consistent late game that you still have a massive amount of value. Ymir still garbage. Zeus 2, way too risky. And Zhong Kui, just not consistent enough. You're playing it anywhere. You're playing in the soul lane. So there's the fucking tier list. Sledge Janus is nuts. Little wee-woo. Never talk again. There's a tier list. You got A stacked pretty deep. A plus is looking really good right now. There's lots of fucking gods that you can play that are still very strong. And then up here, you're looking at your gods that are guaranteeing your wins because their win rates are so fucking high. And that's that. And then you got doo-doo tier. You got this shit tier here. You got Odin being doo-doo-doo-doo. And then you've got all this. I don't know why you would play any of these gods right here, to be honest. And even here, like, Izanami is a fucking trap. These three, not so much. But, like, Izanami and these, don't know why you would play them. I have no idea why you would play them.